Depression seems to be a leading silent killer for people across the world, and a lot of people suffer from depression quietly. We can never have enough of this conversation, as there's still a lot of misconception around this illness. So to discuss this topic, we are now joined by Dr. Machere Kewana, who is a psychiatric. Dr. Kewana, it's such an honor to have you on Pitso today. Can you please just explain to us what is depression?
Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm also honored to be hosting this with you today. Depression can be a symptom of quite a lot of conditions which we treat in psychiatry. So the conditions include major depressive disorder, where depression is our most important symptom. Depression can also be part of what we call bipolar depressive disorder or bipolar mood disorder. Depression can also be part of a disorder which is called disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. It can also be part of dysthymia. Then we get depression in quite a lot of female disorders like premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which we call PMS. And also it can be part of perinatal and postpartum. And you can also get it as part of when we have already menopaused. So these are the places where we get a lot of depression, acute stress disorder. So it can be a symptom in those conditions leading to those different diagnoses, depending on the other symptoms that you present with, together with the depression being the main symptom.
Dr. Machere, can you please just explain to us in depth maybe three major types of depressions?
The first one that I will explain is the major depressive disorder. This is the one that we see a lot, where you just feel depressed. Sometimes there is a stressor that we can identify. Sometimes there is an unidentifiable stressor. Everything in your life, it tops. Nothing that even when you check around you check around your friends or everywhere, you can say, this is something that is bringing me down, but you just feel down. You feel you don't want to do anything. That we call endogenous depression. Then there's a depression where we can identify a stressor. You just received a phone call, your whole family was killed on N1. You just received a phone call, you are being terminated from work. Anything that you can identify that I think this is the day that I became depressed. So that kind of depression we call major depressive disorder, and it can be unipolar. And like I said again, you have what we call depression as part of the bipolar mood spectrum disorder, where somebody who has got bipolar, at one stage they've got what we call mania or hypomania. On the other stage, they present to us with depression. And sometimes depression can also be due to maybe you have just been diagnosed with a major illness, cancer, HIV, any other thing, diabetes, that you feel you cannot handle. Then you become down and you become so depressed that you cannot even start to consider what you've been diagnosed of. So those are some of the three major things. But what we see mostly in private practice is the major depressive disorder with or without it.
Doctor, sorry, we couldn't hear you, but you may continue.
Okay, I was saying we can see it also in people sometimes when they are taking medication-induced depressive disorder, or by substances. Those are the unwanted, where they become depressed because of the use of substances. So I was still talking about depression as due to another medical condition. You get a diagnosis of something that you feel you cannot handle, then that can cause you to be depressed. The other one that normally troubles people a lot is depression in what we call seasonal affective disorder. There's some season around spring that people just becomes depressed, or around autumn when the winter is coming in, more especially where people don't have friends, they can't go out and they just lock themselves in. So we call that also seasonal affective disorder, where depression is also a major symptom. And like I said, in women, there was to us is postpartum or premenstrual dysphoric syndrome, where immediately after giving birth, sometimes the woman has been depressed throughout a pregnancy, unsupportive spouse, or the spouse has run away, has jilted her, she's all alone, she doesn't have any form of support, and then the depression is postpartum, where she feels she doesn't want to touch a baby, or she doesn't even want to give a baby her breast. So this normally occurs in a lot of women, and people don't understand it because they would be saying, why are you not accepting your baby? It's not that you are not accepting your baby, it's because by the time you gave birth, things were happening that have already led you into a depressed mode. And when the baby comes, babies are very demanding. Most of the time in our modern lifestyle, we don't want our grandmothers or our mothers to be near us to help us. It's me and my husband in the suburb. He doesn't even understand what you are going through, because for those women who have been in the labor ward, you know that immediately after giving birth, your body feels like it has been run over by an 18 truck. And it's painful all over, you want to rest. And you have the husband here who also doesn't know what to do. But then he doesn't even know how to help you. And he also demands things from you as the wife and as the woman. At the same time, is the baby on this side. Your breasts are also painful. You don't know what to do. And you don't even have anyone to talk to. So we find women coming in very depressed and feeling like, if this baby can cry another scream again, I'm swearing to you, I'm going to strangle him or her. It's not that they're hating the baby. It's the hormones that have just gone deep down immediately after birth that is causing this. So it's very important to reach out and get support. And let's let our mothers and grandmothers help us in the first 3 months after giving birth. It really helps a lot.
Dr. Kewana, who would you say is more affected by depression between men and women, and why is that?
Women are more affected than men. That also in research has showed that. But on the other hand, we really ask ourselves the question that, are really women more affected than men, or is because women reach out more than men? You know that we are more open, more talkative. We can be having a gathering with our husbands. Maybe we're 10 or 15 couples. By the time we go home, we will be knowing everything about each other. We'll be knowing that that other woman, the husband, has just lost his job. They don't have money. Sometimes we even pack some of the leftover food and give to him. On the other hand, when you ask your husband when they are gone, he will be telling you they were talking soccer, rugby, cricket, everything. But they know nothing that their friend doesn't even have money to put petrol in the car. So that might be another factor, that we are more open, we reach out more quickly for help. And another thing why we are more affected is our hormones. The hormone estrogen, it plays around with our emotions like we are in a soccer field. This is why premenstrual, it's going high, we get depressed. When we are pregnant, immediately after giving birth. So our hormonal differences between us and men also play a major role in us being more depressed than men. And then again, our socializing style, like I'm saying, we socialize more than men. We talk more than men. And again, the difference, the diagnosis difference, again, between us and with our male counterpart. We are easy to go seek help and to accept the diagnosis and to do something with it. Men, on the other hand, they will either run to alcohol, or they will just keep quiet, not say anything to anyone, and then before you know it, they have killed everyone else without anyone having known anything, or they've taken the rope, they've hanged themselves. So women are more diagnosed with depression, and women reach out more. This is why we say the ratio is more amongst women than it is amongst men.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kewana, for your time here on Pitso. We wish we could have talked more on this depression topic, but for today, this is where we leave it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thanks a lot also to the listeners. If you feel you are down, you are irritable, you are feeling anxious, you are feeling helpless, your appetite is reduced, you have got inability to concentrate, you are becoming forgetful, difficulty in sleeping, getting out of bed in the morning, constant feelings of tiredness, suicidal ideation, sometimes with even attempts, please run, come and see us. We will help you. Thank you a lot to the listeners.
Thank you
and bye
so much.
until next time.
Welcome back to Pitso here on SABC Lehigh. Now, the Free State Department of Human Settlements, which has failed to remove asbestos roof in the province, is expected to return more than 600 million in unspent budget to the National Treasury. While the matter of the 255 million failed asbestos project is in court, the department will return 607 million to the National Treasury because the department was unable to spend the money. To unpack this issue, we are now joined by the MEC of Human Settlements in the Free State Province, Ketso Makume. Hi, MEC Makume, and welcome to Pitso. The money that the department received from National Treasury, it's supposed to help the people of the Free State. Why was the budget not utilized?
Thank you very much. Good morning to your viewers. Let me just explain that the money that is being returned is the money that was for the budget of 2022-2023 financial year. This was precisely because of, number one, the incapacities the department that was faced by. But after the administration of the Honorable Premier Ntatom Nkulisi and our appointment in April, at the end of this financial year, we have then worked out the plan that is beginning to work out the recovery of the money and also ensuring that all the incomplete projects are going to be completed. I can just tell you that we had a discussion with the Department of Human Settlement led by Mema Muloko Kubai, in which we have made the following commitments: that we want to finish the asbestos project. We are also vowed to finish all the incomplete projects, remove all the asbestos in the Free State, and ensure that the mud houses will be the thing of the past. As we speak now, there are companies that have been appointed that are working in those projects. The project on asbestos, which was interrupted in 2014, it is a matter before the court of law. But we went to the National Department to say our people can be the victims of some unnecessary corrupt activities that were done by some, either in the department and by the companies that were appointed. But we then made an appeal that we needed to request money to continue the project. So this financial year, the asbestos project is continuing, and there are companies on site in Metsimaholo, in areas of Dishabeng, in areas of Maluti-Apofung, and areas of Machabeng. There are companies that are being appointed to finish the asbestos project.
Mr. MEC, as the Department of Human Settlement in the Free State Province, you just recently received, released a statement that you won't return the money to the National Treasury. What does it mean for the department?
It means the department must commit themselves to the plans that we have agreed upon. We are making this commitment that we will not, in this financial year of 2023-2024, return any cent because it works against the mitigation of homelessness. What the department is aimed at is to ensure that it settles our people in a human settlement way or in a human settled way. So you can't return money when you're supposed to build houses and ensure that our people are humanly settled. So what we are committing ourselves in this financial year is that we shouldn't at any point return any cent to the treasury because it's the money that we have planned to finish all the projects. It's the money that we have planned to mitigate the factors that put our people in what we call homelessness. So the implications to the department is that we need to work meticulously and in a very smart way to ensure that every cent given to us is spent very meticulous way so that our people get houses and they are being settled in a manner that is accorded by the Constitution.
Mr. MEC, we know that the matter of the 255 million failed asbestos project is still in court. However, the people of Free State still want to know when will the department remove asbestos roofs of the 36,000 identified houses.
Like as I've said, there are already companies on site. People that have asbestos in their roofs in the Free State now, they can attest that there are companies that have consulted them. Councillors in those wards have been consulted. I personally have consulted all the executive mayors of the areas that are being affected. So the projects have already started. They started with what they call verification process, which was the phase 1. You will be mindful of the fact that as and when the department had a delay in relation to the removal of asbestos, some people and some individual households have removed asbestos on their own. So the department had to be sure exactly in which houses that we are going to remove and which houses have people voluntarily remove asbestos on their own. So that verification process has started in all the municipalities, in all the areas that are affected. There have also been a pilot project of 20 houses per municipalities. If you can go to Metimaholo and ask the residents in Ward 11 and Ward 12, they will attest to you that there are houses that asbestos has been removed as we speak now. So the intention is to ensure that in a 3-year multiple project that we have planned, we must and we will remove all the asbestos in the Free State. That's the commitment we are making to the people.
MEC, maybe besides the budget issues, are there any other factors that are maybe standing on the way of this project that maybe the community needs to be alert about?
Okay. Number one, there was a promise by some, I don't know who have told our communities that as and when we remove asbestos, we are going to replace those asbestos with the tiles. So what we are doing, we are replacing asbestos with the IBR. The IBR is a zinc roof that has met all the standards to ensure that it makes our people to be safe. Asbestos are toxic in their nature. Our people, some are not aware that the reason why asbestos are being removed is because they've got some serious health repercussions. And that is the reason why government, as early as 2008 and 2009, have taken a decision to remove all asbestos. So what could be the hindrance now is that our people are not sure what is it that is going to replace asbestos. So I'm confirming here that what is going to replace asbestos in all the areas of the Free State is IBR. If there are people who have made commitments to put the tiles, they are not from the department. But if there are those who are from the department, the communities need to tell us who are these people who have promised them the tiles and why have they done that, so that we can then take action. The other thing is just people who want to work in those asbestos projects. There are people who are involved in the tendering system that wants to work in those asbestos projects. So some of them, they stop projects because they are not involved. So I have said all the companies that have been awarded, because companies were awarded by the DBSA, what we have done as the department to avoid the problem of 2014, we have appointed DBSA as the implementing agent. So the implementing agent has been informed that it must involve local business communities, but it must also involve community members. That is why there has to be a relationship between community members, councillors, and the companies that have been appointed, and the companies that wish to be appointed in that particular project. We have also decided that we need to form what we call the project committee. The project committee is the committee that consists of the community and the members of the project and the beneficiaries that are going to be affected and the companies that are going to work in that project. That project committee is going to report to the mayor and the MEC on fortnight basis, so that when there are problems, were able to deal and handle them properly at that time.
Thank you so much, MEC Ketso Makume, for your time here on Pitso.
Thank you very much, and thank to your viewers.
Welcome back to Pitso. South Africa is facing a serious shortage of veterinarians, and this is having an impact on the battle against animal diseases such as foot and mouth. According to South African Veterinarian Council, about 150 vets are leaving the country annually. Government has now teamed up with the Health and Welfare Sector Education and Training Authority to promote a veterinary career guidance awareness program targeting school children.
The international standard is to have between 200 and 400 vets per million of a country's population, but government says South Africa only has around 60 to 70 vets per million. This has forced government to place vets under the country's critical skills needs.
There has to be more collaboration around resources between institutions per region, especially between historically advantaged and historically disadvantaged institutions. We have to unlock employment and entrepreneurial opportunities that exist within the sector, but to produce the skills necessary for the agricultural sector, the Department of Agriculture has to be involved.
The University of Pretoria is the only institution in the country offering the qualification of veterinary sciences. Plans are now afoot to accredit more universities, including TVET colleges, to offer the training, while those in the sector say this must be expedited.
The University of Pretoria only trains veterinarians and veterinary nurses. We need animal health technicians. We need veterinary physiotherapists. We need veterinary technologists. Now, they are there being produced elsewhere, but in minor, numbers that are not sufficient for the needs of the country. The veterinary labs are not well resourced, to be able to cater for the needs of the country.
Government says collaborations with other nations like China on developing the agricultural sector will also help strengthen the country's economy and push for food security.
If we agree on programs, economic programs to partner with China, which ones exactly, which ones are approved, and what stage of readiness do we have as a country in order to service that agreement.
The Black Veterinary Forum has called for an end to talks and for the suggestions raised over time for the transformation of the sector to be implemented.
We need to ensure that there is collaboration between the government departments, but more essentially, we need to produce more veterinarians that will be retained within the country and that will be able to serve the needs of our rural communities.
Those in the sector have also called for the country's basic education system to be amended to start rolling out veterinary education from the foundation phase. South Africa looking to have a clear footprint of vets training at all institutions of higher learning in the near future, with both higher education and the agriculture departments hopeful of more funds from Treasury and an increase in interest in matriculants that will take up vet as their career of choice in the coming academic year. Katlego Logodi, SABC News, Pretoria.
Now, to delve deeper on the shortage of vets in the country, we have Dr. Nomfundo Mnisi in studio. Hi, Dr. Nomfundo, and welcome to Pitso.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Maybe, Doctor, please brief us thoroughly through veterinary science career. How does one qualify to study for it?
Okay, so when you are doing your secondary training education, you need to do the sciences. So that will be physical science, life sciences, and also mathematics. Not mathematics literacy, the pure mathematics. Now that gives you a chance to be selected to enter into the field. There's different levels that are required. For the veterinary science one, where you become a doctor, that one, the levels are higher. And for the other, for the paraveterinary professionals, then the levels will be lower. It differs per the para-veterinary qualification that you are taking. So the important thing is to have mathematics, physical science, and life sciences by grade 12.
So what is the cause of the current shortage of vets in the country?
It's great. It's what we see as the community, what everybody see is that the prices of the food that we consume goes high. At the moment, we're talking about eggs. There is not enough veterinarians and para-veterinarians to take care of food-producing animals. So that then leads to anything happening. You see, diseases knows no boundaries. They can cross at any time and to anywhere. Now, we need to be able to control and manage that at all the times. Now, if a time passes by without anyone looking after that, then anything can happen. We have veterinarians and para-veterinarians in the country. However, the veterinarians mostly, they are concentrated in urban areas, and we do not produce as much. We only have one institution, the University of Pretoria, the Onderstepoort Veterinary Faculty. It only produces veterinarians around 140, and about a third of those, they leave and go overseas, out of the country. Those that remain, they tend to be in urban areas, and they tend to do small animals. So a few of those that have remained will now go into the rural areas. It's taxing to work in the rural areas. You drive long distances, it's long hours. You can be called at any time, to come and assist with the difficult birth of a cow. Now that requires commitment, and it requires, people, the profession to be, that we can have more people, so that, when you have enough supply, then you will not be concentrated in one area, you will move elsewhere. Then also the para-veterinarians. These are the ones, they focus on a certain discipline of the veterinary profession. For instance, we'll have veterinary nurses. They will be doing what, in the human medicine, like it said here, there will be the nurses. Okay. The community will understand that paying a nurse is not as expensive as paying a doctor. So it is advisable that you have more of those. When you go to a clinic, you'll see more nurses than the doctors. Those are the people that are on the ground, that are the soldiers that are offering the actual service. So we need those, the veterinary nurses, the animal health technicians, those who go out to the farms, to the deep tanks, look at the health of livestock, do the inspection, the vaccinations, the surveillance, everything that needs to be done. So we need more of those. And the University of Pretoria at the moment is not producing those. They are produced in minor quantities in some institutions. We have Northwest, UNISA, and Tardi Tsolo in the Eastern Cape. And also TUT for the veterinary technologist. But they're in smaller numbers, and it's not sufficient to take care of the needs of the country. The needs of the country, South Africa is a farming country. We survive on meat. I eat every kind of meat. Now, that requires us to have people who will take care of that, of that livestock. So at the moment, the professionals that we have, they are more concentrated on taking care of pets, the cats and dogs.
So what impact does it have, especially now that we look at the outbreak of the foot and mouth disease?
Well, with foot and mouth disease, one, what you get, it will be trade barriers. So South Africa will not be able to trade freely with other countries. That has an impact on our economy, and it also negatively affects the areas where that disease is, you know, like with foot and mouth disease, it is along the Kruger National Park, and the people, the community along those areas, they are not able to trade, not only, you know, not just with outside South Africa, but they are not able to trade freely within South Africa because of this disease. Now, they tend to suffer. They are not able to take their livestock into the market. So that is why you just keep seeing these farmed animals, this communal animals, just being there waiting for a wedding or a funeral, you know, for the farmer to get something. So those are the social economic impact that you know, animal diseases have. You know, it goes far beyond cats and dogs. Mm-hmm. Now, when we have more veterinary and paraveterinary professionals to look after our livestock, to look after our animals, then we will get to a point where we are able to manage these diseases, and we can get the ordinary farmer who's out there in the rural areas, far there where nobody wants to go to. When their animals are taken care of, then they also be able to get into the market. And once they get into the market, in turn, the veterinary and paraveterinary professionals will also be able to expand, because now they will have more farmers, more animals to look after, and their businesses will grow. And so then we'll have this great turnover.
Dr. Nomfundo, what can the government do to improve the current situation of shortages of vets in the country?
The Department of Higher Education and Training is working on the second faculty. To address these shortages. So the HWCTA is working with the Department of Higher Education and Training, and also the Department of Agriculture, to get this second faculty established as the faculty that will address the needs of the country. We are aware that there have been talks around this second faculty for a while, and the reason why now we are standing as the HWCTA, you know, getting this on the move, is because we would like to see some action happening, and to have the results before, you know, things get worse than they are now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nomfundo Mnisi, for your time here on Pitso. You must enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. Enjoy the rest of the day too.
Thank you.
Great.
To go back on the mining safety, for more insight on the mining safety, we are now joined by Bengati Kapoor, who is a mining engineer. Hi, Mr. Kapoor, and welcome to Pitso here on SABC Lehigh. Firstly, because you are a mining engineer, what is your take on the incident that happened at the Impala Platinum mine?
Now, first of all, I'd like to send our condolences to our colleagues in the mining sector and also to the families. We are so deeply saddened by the incident as we speak. The incident is uncalled for at the moment because it is a human error, or I could say incompetency in terms of the winding engine driver. He did not take the necessary steps of his safety and the safety of other people who were at the mine at that time. He could not have left the winding cabin at that particular time because it was during the time of taking colleagues out of the mine, and you would have been monitoring the winder at that particular time so that he could take control of the winder. So he had no control of the winder. So he left everything not into his hands, but he left everything into nobody's hands. So we are really saddened by what he did, but he should not have done that one. I don't know if the authorities actually allow what is happening and what happened, that the operator, the engine driver, could do such a mistake at that particular time of taking operators, taking employees out of the mine.
Mr. Kapoor, in incidents like this, what then happens to the person who was responsible?
No, that is when they're doing the investigation is when it's going to tell to say what are they going to do to the person who actually did not do the right way at his job at that particular time. We cannot speculate, because once you speculate, then we are judging people without being judged by the authorities who are going to take the investigation.
South Africa has some of the world's deepest mines. Do we have the matching technology and infrastructure in terms of safety in mines?
I would say we are still far from that. I have been blessed that I worked one of the deepest mines in South Africa called the Poneng mine. And you remember, people, when they are at work, they have got not much authority as what instructions are given by the employer to do the work. So once they start having that control through the unions, through the managers, then it will be much better. But we are still very far in terms of the conditions in our mining sector. It's still very hot down there, and people still go there because what do they want? They want to feed the families. So we cannot say that they cannot go to work, and if they refuse, what do they? They will be fired. So the management, I think we also ask our department, Mineral and Resources, to look at all those who have got very good, competent government inspectors, very competent government managers, government directors, who can look into those. But unfortunately, they are not enough to inspect all these mines. They are also lacking some of the might lack some of the expertise. We need to send them also to other countries where the such type of projects are being run in terms of safety, so that they can also learn and how to improve our safety in the country at the moment in the mining sector.
And how much training are the winding drivers getting to be able to operate optimally?
They get enough training, because once they have finished training, they are assessed. And they are assessed by the procedures laid down by our government, by our ministry. So training-wise is very good, but how often do they do these refresher courses themselves with the mine or the employer? That is where we need to look that they must be doing a lot of plant task observations made on daily basis, so that they don't make such mistakes that we have seen now. Employers and employees must work hand in hand, so that all the procedures laid down, it must be followed properly. We could have avoided this incident at the moment.
Mr. Kapowa, the CEO of Impala mentioned that there will be investigations into what really happened in this incident at the mines. What are you really expecting this investigation to focus on?
This is what our employers always do in terms when there's an incident. But once the incident is gone, we forget about looking at the root causes of most of these accidents. They can do the investigation, they will find the root causes of the incident, but what happens after this incident? Are we going to lose another person? If we're not going to lose another person, what are the things, procedures put in place to prevent and to alert our workers in the mining sector so that they can do their job efficiently, without fear, and also properly?
Mr. Kapowa, what does this incident then display, particularly in the international market?
It won't affect a lot of on international market, because these are the incidents happening each and every time, and we have never seen that it affects the market. The market still goes on. The prices of minerals are going up. The employers are getting the benefits through the workers. So we won't see any change on the market at the moment because of this incident. So many incidents have happened that we have never seen any effect at all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kapowa, for your time here on Pitso. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day. We still send our condolences to our colleagues in the mining sector. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Mr. Kapowa, who is a mining engineer, explaining in depth what really happened at the Impala mine in Rustenburg. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this short break.